Hello students, very good welcome to fifth semester. I'm going to deal your one of the subject cloud computing. So today I'm going to introduce you what actually is the cloud computing, what actually is the cloud, what are the benefits of the cloud, what are the risks, and what are the deployment models actually we are having under the cloud. So first, before going to in detail, are we the cloud users? Are we using cloud? Already we are using cloud knowingly or unknowingly. So if you are having a mail ID, then you are a cloud user because you are storing your information on some other machine and you are accessing it. So you are accessing it from various devices which are available with you, which are connected via internet, and you're accessing it through your PCs, your personal digital assistants, your smartphones, whatnot. So likewise, if you are, means many applications already you are using, already I can assure that all my students are actually cloud users. So what actually is a cloud, how it is going, how it will work, we will see now. So here it is. Yeah. So what actually is a cloud computing? So these are the things which are going to discuss: the introduction of the cloud, cloud computing, benefits, risks, and the cloud deployment model, as I said. So cloud computing provides us the means which we can access the application as it is or internet. So it is providing you the applications via internet where you are using those applications to solve your needs. And it will allow you to create, configure, customize the business applications online. Now here you are going to create your applications, configure your applications, and customize your applications online. Means you're not doing in-house, you are doing it online via internet. And using the cloud, the users can access the database resources via internet from anywhere as long as they need without worrying about the maintenance or management of the actual resources. See, this point actually I mentioned you earlier. If you are using, you're having a mail ID, then you are a cloud user. Why? Because you are accessing the information, whether it is a database or whatever it is, from anywhere. So without worrying its maintenance, because you need not carry it, you need not maintain it, you are not worried about whether it is safe or not, I mean, whether it is in a system or not, whether you are carrying it or not. These all questions generally arise when it is maintained in-house. Now here you are placing in some other system there, you are going and you are accessing it via internet from anywhere. Next, what actually the term cloud refers? The cloud refers to a network or internet. It means that you can say that is something which is present in a remote location. So the one which is, sorry. So the one which is far away from you, which is placed in some remote machine, comes under the remote location. You are accessing it via internet. And this cloud provides the services over public and private networks, like your virtual, wireless area networks, your local area networks, or your virtual private networks there. So it is providing the services via the private or public networks there. And as I mentioned earlier, the applications such as emails, web conferencing, customer relationship management, execute on the cloud. So like today, many applications are running on the internet there. So these applications are also like the emails, the conferencing, your customer relationship management, all these runs execute on the cloud. So here comes the definition of what actually is the cloud computing. Cloud computing refers to manipulating, configuring, and accessing the hardware and software resources remotely. So what you are doing here, you are manipulating, you're configuring and accessing the hardware and software resources remotely. So those resources actually are not available to you in-house. They are not available in your machine, but you're manipulating them, you're configuring them, and you're accessing those hardware or software resources which are placed in a remote machine there. So also it offers the online storage infrastructure and applications. It offers online storage where you can store the data, the infrastructure and applications. More about these things you can come across in the later sessions there. And of course, it is a combination of software and hardware based upon the computing resources. Okay, next. So here you can look at this from this diagram also, you can actually observe that. See, there are several in the infrastructure, the applications and the storage are at some other place, and people are accessing via different kinds of devices like your PCs, your mobile phones, your smartphones, your personal digital assistants, etc. And it offers a platform independency. Okay, it offers a platform independency as the software is not required to be installed locally on the machine. So here it is one of the most beautiful feature I can say, or it is the most advantageous feature of the cloud computing I can say, because you need not, it offers a platform independency. So you are not worried about any platform. If you are having an internet connection, easily can access the cloud. And at the same time, you need not install any software on your PC there. Already, see, I can say if you're having a browser, then easily can access that applications of the cloud there. And that's why it is making our business applications mobile and collaborative. So because of this reason, because you're not, it is not necessary to actually install any applications. That's the reason why what we can say that this cloud computing is actually offering us the business applications mobile as well as the collaborative. And next, the cloud computing promises to cut the operational and capital costs, and more importantly, let the IT department focus on strategic projects instead of keeping the data centers running. Now here, what this points actually suggests here is it is focusing on cutting off the operational and capital cost there. Because when you're not maintaining any hardware at your place, when you're not maintaining you're not buying any software, okay, and you're not updating them, so your focus is mainly on the strategic projects, your project development, instead of worrying about how the data center is running, how the application is your hardware is running or not, is it fine or not. Means you need not worry about all these things there. Simply can concentrate on the development of your project. So there are several benefits of your cloud computing there. It is cost effective, on-demand, self-service. We can means no software is required, etc. So we will come across one by one this in the next slide. Now here the benefits. One can access applications as utilities over the internet. Means any utilities which are available to you can be accessed via internet. Like for example, you're accessing many utilities. Like let us say take an example of your Google Docs. So earlier, if you want to prepare a document, or if you are supposed to prepare a spreadsheet, you compulsory require. If you want to prepare a spreadsheet, if you want to prepare a document, you require the software. No, you need to buy them, you need to install them, then you need to work on them. But here, it's not necessary at all. Simply, you open the internet, you open the Google Docs, go, if you want to develop a document, you can develop a document. If you want to prepare a spreadsheet, simply you prepare a spreadsheet or a presentation, and you work on that. And also, one can manipulate and configure the applications online at any time. So you can manipulate the application, you can configure any application online there. Okay. No, it does not require to install the software to access or manipulate the content. No, that's in the previous day also I mentioned that point that you need not install the software. See, this is one of the feature. Already the software is available. See, you know very well to access internet, what software is required. Obviously, your answer is, sir, we require a web browser. That's it. If you're having a web browser, easily you can access the cloud computing. Easily can you're done with the cloud computing, you can access the cloud. And also it offers online development and deployment tools, programming, runtime environment through platform as a service model. Means it is accessing you the online development and deployment tools. Many development and deployment tools are available. We will talk about the what is PaaS when we discuss about the service models of the cloud computing. But now it is providing an online deployment environment where you can develop the applications, deploy the applications, and we can run the applications there. And another benefit of the cloud computing is the cloud resources are available over the network, okay, in a manner that they provide platform independent access to any type of client. Now here, it offers a platform independent access to any types of client. It means here, it is not any necessary that if you want to access a cloud, you need to have a specific platform. So because independent, you can access through any machine which is offering you the internet. And another point here is cloud computing offers on-demand self-service here. The resources can be used without interaction with the cloud service provider. So you need not interact with the cloud service provider here. Simply what you can do is on-demand self-service there. If you want, you can just click on that, you will get a service, and then you can get the service. And if you are done with that particular application or any resource, you can release it. So obviously those will be charged accordingly, that we'll discuss later on. Next is cloud computing is highly cost effective because it operates at a high efficiency with optimum utilization. It just requires an internet connection. So as I told you that if you're having an internet connection, you can access the cloud. And also what is the most another beneficial thing here is it's a cost effective in the sense how much pay as you use, how much you are using, according to that you can just pay according to that. Another thing here is that cloud computing offers load balancing that makes it more reliable. Means you can balance the load. You can share among several people the load of the application, and that makes it more reliable. Of course, it comes with some high risk factors also, because the major concern about using the cloud is its security and privacy. See here, one thing before I go into details of that. One thing here is when you're placing your data, when you're running your application in some system which doesn't belong to you, means it is a third-party system, so it is placed somewhere. Obviously, it is under risk there because you are not providing any security to us. You are not now guaranteed about its privacy. So that comes a major factor here. Now, because this the management, the data management, infrastructure management is provided by third party, it is always a risk of handling them, handovering them the sensitive data, because when you're giving them the sensitive data, then it is at a high risk. And although, of course, you can ask why, if it is risky, why we have to go to the cloud? So, of course, nobody will provide you the service without actually assuring you the high security and privacy there. So vendors actually ensure the high security password protected accounts here. A sign of security breach may result in the loss of customers and revenue. Now we have, of course, you might have learned this about in a network security also, that when you're, of course, you are providing high security features there, still there is a problem that there may happen some security breaches because this hackers, the intruders, the virus, or you can say the malware applications, what they always tend to steal your information to provide loss to your loss to your information. That's the reason why. So security and privacy is always a risk factor under while you're using the cloud. Another aspect here is lock-in. What is this lock-in here? Because when you are going to a cloud service provider and when you are relying on him, so it is very difficult for you to switch from one cloud service provider to another cloud, because you will be completely dependent on him, because all your data will be placed at him, and again You have to bring back the whole data, the information or application from one cloud provider to another cloud provider. So switching between the cloud providers will be a very difficult, a challenging task for the customers. And isolation feature, another risk factor is the risk involves in the failure of isolation mechanism. I'm sorry. So isolation failure, in the sense, the risk involves the failure of isolation mechanism that separates storage, memory, and routing between the different tenants there. So because the different tenants are there, because when you're isolated there, so always there is a risk involved in that. Okay, because the mechanism, it separates the storage, memory, and routing between the tenants. The different tenants will be there. The failure of isolation means because the application is actually running at a different location there. So again, it comes at a risk factor. And next, the interface compromise. In case of public cloud providers, of course, we are going to discuss very soon about what is the public cloud providers. The customer management interfaces are accessible through internet there. And you need to compromise with the interface. Whatever the interface they are providing, you have to stick on to that there, because you are not going to have your own user-friendly interface sometimes. Of course, mostly they will provide you the user-friendly interfaces there. But there comes a factor that you may not actually have. Sometimes you need to compromise with some interface features there. And also insecure and incomplete data deletion. So this is also one of a serious issue, that the data which is requested for deletion may not get deleted there, because the extra copies of data are stored but are not available at the time of deletion there. Means if your data is stored, because one of the feature here is, see, generally we generally do it's our habit that if it is some sensitive data, very important data, we store it at different places, not at one place. We store it at different, like for example, if you take your computer, if there are 3 or 4 drives are there, what you'll do, you'll place that file in all the drives, so that if one copy is lost, you can access it back. So likewise, when your cloud provider is providing a feature of storage data, what he will do, he will not store the data at one place. He will place the data at different locations there. And when you are supposed to delete the data, what happens is the data may be deleted at one place and it may not be deleted at another place. And if it is your sensitive data, again, you are in a risk. Okay, and data is stored. Data disk that stores data of multiple tenants is destroyed. Sometimes if the disk is destroyed, which is storing the data of multiple tenants, many data of many people, if it is destroyed, then there is a there may be a loss of data here. Also, it is one of the risk factors. Now, next is another interesting thing here is about the various deployment models generally we have. So the deployment models defines the types of access to the cloud. So how you are going to access the cloud. So what is that topological sense? What is the topological sense here? What is the topology of your cloud? How actually it is laid, and how you are going to access that cloud defines this deployment model. And also it defines how the cloud is located. As I just said, how it is located. What is its topological sense there? So we can categorize them into 4 basic types, that is public clouds, private clouds, hybrid clouds, and community clouds. Now, what is public cloud here? Public cloud is an open to all to store and access the information via internet using pay-per-use method. So it is open to all. So it is not restricted to only a group of people or some people there. It is open for all. Anybody can use it. For example, here he mentioned that pay-per-use method, pay-per-usage method. So sometimes you are not paying it at all. Simply you are using them. Here, for example, as I just earlier mentioned about your email. So you're using, most of the people are having the Google accounts there. You're using the Google. You're not paying for that. He's providing you initially 15 GB of data, gigabytes of data, and you are just storing the information using that. And if the usage increases, what you are doing, you need to pay them. You need to pay them. I mean, if it is beyond 15 GB, then what you have to do, you have to pay per user. And Google is not restricted to only few people in this world. Anybody who is capable of using the internet, they can create a Google account and they can use it. Okay, now in this, computing resources are managed and operated by the cloud service provider. So it is completely operated by the cloud service provider. So there is like Google is maintaining all the accounts. He is a cloud service provider. It is managed and operated by the Google in the example. Now, public cloud is open to all to store and access the information via internet using as same point is repeated. I'm sorry for that. Okay, next. Here, what are the advantages of public cloud? So public cloud is owned by the at a lower cost than the private and hybrid clouds. So it is at a lower cost. Sometimes, as I told you, it comes free. Sometimes you're paying very, very less money to access that cloud. Compared to your private and hybrid cloud, it is much cheaper. Next is a cloud is maintained by the public cloud is maintained by the cloud service provider. So do not need to worry about its maintenance there. So you need not here, because it is maintained by the cloud service provider, you need not maintain about you're not worry about its maintenance there. And it is easy to integrate, hence it offers better flexibility approach to consumers. So easily you can integrate the applications in the public cloud there. So that's why it is more flexible to the consumers there. And public cloud is location independent because its services are delivered through internet. So location, you can access it from any location there. And means only the thing here is if you are having the internet connection, simply you can access it. And it is highly scalable as per the requirement of the computing resources. So public cloud is highly scalable as the requirement of computing. Scalability in the sense here, the increasing or decreasing here. You can increase as per the requirement, means any service as per the requirement, or you can simply decrease it. And it is accessible by the general public, so there is no limit to the number of users. As I told you, just Google has a number of users throughout the world there. Millions of users are having the Google accounts. There is no restriction there. Anybody can use it. What are the disadvantages here? So it is less secure because it is public. Many people are using it and the resources are shared publicly. So it is of higher, less secure. And also the performance depends upon the high-speed internet network linked to the cloud provider. So what type of an internet connection you're using, that also affects the performance of the public cloud. And the client has no control over the data. No, you are not having any control over the data. Next is the private cloud. The private cloud is also known as an internal cloud or corporate cloud. So as the name itself, private, so it belongs to a specific organization. Only the people of that organization who are authorized can use it. Okay, so it is used by an organization that and manages its own data internally or by a third party. So sometimes the private cloud are maintained by, operated by the management itself, or a third party is going to operate. Like say, for example, I observed personally, my brother-in-law who is working in Wipro, actually, he is working, when he is working from home, so he is accessing the Wipro's private cloud via the internet. And he is only the person who is authorized to access it. So I can't access the Wipro private cloud there. So I should have a username and password. And what are the security measures they are following? Only means a group of people can access it. Okay, so it can be deployed using the open source tools such as OpenStack and Equaliptus. So some open source tools are there. You can use them to deploy this private cloud. And based upon the location and the management also, the National Institute of Standards and Technology divide the private cloud into two parts. So based upon the location and the management. So on-premises private cloud and outsourced private. As I told you, on-premises in the sense you are maintaining in the premises itself. So in your premises, you are maintaining it and all the people are accessing it. Or it is an outsourced private cloud where a third party is maintaining exclusively for the organization. Next. What are the advantages here? Private cloud provides a high level security and privacy to the user. Of course, when it is called private, so it is providing you the high security and privacy to the users, and it offers better performance with the improved speed and space capacity, because not all, like public cloud, all people are not accessing it there. So that's the reason why the performance will be with the high improved speed and space capacity. And also, it allows the IT team to quickly allocate and deliver on-demand IT resources. Now here, any resources which are required, because those resources are used by only the group of people here. So what happens is they can be allocated and delivered on demand to the people who requires them. And the organization is having the full control on this cloud there. So there is no need for the organization depends on anybody, because you are maintaining it. Because if it is private and you owned it, you are maintaining it, so you need not depend upon anybody. So it is actually suitable for the organization that requires separate cloud for their personal use, and data security is the first priority. So when the security is the first priority, you can go for this private cloud. Of course, there are disadvantages if you talk about this private cloud there. The skilled people are required, because to manage a cloud, again, you need to have the essential skills in your organization to maintain the cloud. That is a challenging task to you. And the next point here is it is accessible within the organization. The area of operation is limited, of course, because it is accessible only within the organization. Its scope is limited now, and it is not suitable for the organizations that have high user base. So when the user base is high, it is not suitable. And the organization that do not have the pre-built infrastructure, when you're not having a sufficient pre-built infrastructure, sufficient manpower to maintain and manage the cloud, then it is one of the disadvantages. Next, if you talk about the hybrid cloud, as the name itself suggests, it is a combination of both public and private clouds. Means that if suppose an organization is there where some portion you want to make public and you want some portion to secure, keep it secure, keep it private. Like generally in object-oriented programming, we come across with these two things there, that in a class, only some things which are need to be accessed from outside, the things which are supposed to be means the things which need permission to be accessed from outside, those are generally we write in the public place. And then the things which need to be secured, we generally declare them as private. The same thing applies here, that so both the public and private cloud there. The hybrid is partially secure, because the services which are running on the public cloud can be accessible by anyone, while the services which are running on the private cloud can be accessed by the organization users there. So only the private user means those here you need to have the accessibility permissions there. Public, anybody can access it, and then again the private, only the people of the organization can access it. The examples here, the Google application suites, Gmail, Google Apps, Google Drive, they comes under the Office, the hybrid cloud, or Office 365, which is MS Office on the web, and OneDrive, Amazon Web Services, etc. These are comes under the hybrid cloud. So what are the advantages here? Of course, it suits with the organization that requires more security than the public cloud, and it helps you to deliver new products and services more quickly. So it helps you, means the new products or the services, you can deliver them very quickly. And also it provides an excellent way to reduce the risk. Risk can also be reduced here. Here, I would like to discuss one point here, that, see, sometimes you want to make the data available to outsiders. But again, the problem here is you don't want to make everything available to outside. In such case, this particular model of building the cloud is very suitable. Why? Because what you can do is you can actually allow only few services to be available outside, and only few services mean those services which you need to maintain privately, or you need where you want to secure them. You can go for this hybrid cloud there. Okay, next, what are the disadvantages here? The security feature is not as good as private cloud. Of course, when public enters, obviously, what happens here is the security features will be get minimized. Okay, then managing a hybrid cloud is complex because it is very difficult to manage more than one type of deployment model, because two different types of deployment models are there. It is difficult to manage there. The reliability of services depends upon the cloud service provider. Again, and the reliability of this particular model depends upon the cloud service provider. The last one here is the community cloud. This cloud allows the systems and services to be accessible by a group of several organizations to share the information between the organization and a specific community. So here, a group of organizations, they all come together and actually they create this community cloud there. And it is owned, managed, and operated by one or more organization in a community, a third party, or a combination of them. So who is going to maintain them? Who is going to own them there? So either an organization in that group, or a third party, or a combination of them. Like, for example, it is given the healthcare community cloud, where the healthcare organization, they all come together, they form a cloud, means the organization can run a cloud and they can access the information. And of course, the advantages means to discuss here is it is cost effective because the whole cloud is being shared by several organizations and community. Because when you're sharing the cost here, so it comes with a lesser cost to an organization, and it is suitable for the organization that want to have a collaborative cloud with more security features than public cloud. Now, when you're not using the public cloud, so here you are collaborating with the other organizations. So what you can do here is you can have a more security features, and a collaborative work means people combining with one another and working together. It is possible. So it's security, obviously, when the public is not there, security feature is greater, much better security will be there. And as I told, it is collaborative and also the distributive, because the work can be distributed. And the community cloud allows you to share cloud resources, infrastructure, and other capabilities among the various organizations. So here, the cloud services allows us to share the cloud resources infrastructure. So you can share the cloud infrastructure and various other capabilities of the organization. So what disadvantages does it have? So that's community cloud is not good choice for every organization. Not all organizations are best suited for this community cloud there, because the security features are not as good as private cloud. Again, when you compare with private is actually private. So it belongs only to say one organization. So when others are involved, whether it is public or private, or you can say the hybrid or this cloud community, so when you can't compare it with the private cloud there. So when no collaboration is there, it is not suitable, and the fixed amount of data storage and bandwidth is shared among all the community members. And again, this is a challenging task because the bandwidth and also the data storage features have been shared among the various community members there. And then if it is scalable, okay. If it is not scalable, then again, one is using less, but still it is withhold with him, whereas the other is using it more and he requires more, then such issues may arise. So that's it. So in this particular video, we have discussed about the introduction to the cloud computing. So what actually the cloud is, the cloud computing, and also what are the benefits and the risks, and then about the various models of the cloud. Okay, so in the next video, we'll discuss more about this. Thank you.